Hi, in this video I wanna clean up the code a little bit. This is what I have right now. It's not that big, but it will get bigger, so it's about time to clean up it a little bit. What I wanna do, I wanna split the code in a few parts, so we don't have everything in one place. It will be easier to manage this. First, what I want to do, I want to create a new file and I will name it config.h. Inside this file, I want to have settings that I may want to change in the future. To create a proper header file, we have to add this. First thing I may want to change is the MCU clock speed. So let's paste it here. I also wanna include a library AVR.io. Next thing I wanna have are the settings for the pins, because when I move to the next AVR MCU, I may wanna change these pins. Next are the settings for the PWM timer. And the next MCU, the settings may be different, so I will have it here. Next, the settings for the interrupt, because also they may be different in the next MCU. Next, I wanna have the settings for the PWM and settings for the prescaler. And now I wanna add variables for the settings that are responsible for the timing of the blinking and fading. So I will add blink brightness, I will add blink on milliseconds and blink off milliseconds. So when I wanna change the speeds of the blinking mode, I can do it right here. And next will be the fade in mode. And also I will add few variables here. I will add a fade minimum brightness, fade maximum brightness, fade step value, fade step milliseconds, fade hold high milliseconds, and fade hold low milliseconds. And this is my config file. In the end, I just have to add and if, and it's done. Now I will create another file. I will name it ledDriver.h. This is the header file. This one allows me to use functions in the main file that are declared in the library. You can also insert here variables and types. First, I will add these two lines again. Next, I will include library stdint.h. First thing I want to move is the mode type, mode T, because I want to use it in the main file and in the library. I will declare the variable mode T mode. Now I will add headers for the functions. I will add PWM tick init, blink set milliseconds, fade set, brightness set, and LED driver tick. We don't have this one right now, but we will add it. In the end, I will add and if, and the header file is ready. And now I will create the library. I will name it LED driver.c. At the beginning I wanna include 3 files. First will be the config file we made and the LED driver.h header file. Next I wanna include stdint.h library. Next I wanna move the fade phase t type here. Next I wanna move 2 variables, mode and fade phase. Next I will move variables responsible for the fade engine and also the variables responsible for the blink engine. I will move the function milliseconds to overflow and I will change the 256 into the 510 because in the previous version I used 256 because timer 0 is a 8-bit timer. However, that's only correct for modes where the counter counts in one direction, such as fast PWM. But right now I'm using phase correct PWM, where the timer counts up from 0 to 255 and then back down to the 0. Because of that, one complete PWM cycle takes about 510 timer clocks instead of 256. Updating this value makes the timer calculation for blinking and fading match the actual hardware behavior. Next I will move the PWM tick init function, but I will remove static inline right here, and also I will remove from this function the part responsible for the managing switches, because I don't want to have this right here, because this library is only responsible for the LED, not for the switches. So this will be in the main file. Next function I will move is the blink set milliseconds and also the fade set function. Now I will move the brightness set function from the main file to the LED driver, and here I wanna remove almost everything and only leave the reg duty equal brightness, because all the things inside will be managed somewhere else, not here. Next I wanna add new function blink tick. Since the interrupt handler is starting to grow, I created a new function. Its only job is to handle the blinking logic, making the ISR shorter and the code easier to maintain. And just like the blink tick, I've created the new function fade tick, which is responsible for the fade in and out the LED. I will just move some lines to make it look a little better. And the last function I created is LED driver tick. This is simply the function responsible for the switching between the blink and fade. Now I have to modify the main file. First I wanna include the config file and the LED driver.h file. And I wanna remove these two libraries. Now I will create the input init function where I will just set up the switches. Because in config file I added settings for the blinking and fading, now I will replace the values here with these variables. Now I have to modify ISR because I made the functions for blinking and for the fading in the LED driver, so we can replace most of the ISR we have right now with these two functions. Now we have inside only the part for the stopping LED and for changing the mode when LED is off. And now in the main function I have to add input init to set up switches at the beginning, and now we can save and build our program. And we get few errors. First, let's fix this brightness set follows non-static declaration. It happens because we have this static inline here. Now let's see. Save. Still something is wrong. Mode follows non-static declaration. So also somewhere is static inline probably, and we have to fix this. Okay, so here we have something like this, but in the LED driver we have again static, so I will remove this. Now let's try to build this. Okay, now it's working. So now you can upload this to your ATtiny and everything will work. So this is all for that video. In the next video I will replace my active piezo buzzer with passive one, and I will change my power on sound indicator.